we are back with month 2 of my 6-month project pan. Whew. And it's been a little bit rough this month. Hi, my name is Lauren if you're new here, and if you're not new and you came back, I love you, you're amazing, thank you. If you haven't had a chance yet, please hit that subscribe button. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I think we can do it, but I do need your help. Today, I'm going to update you on how the end of month two of my 6-month project pan is going. And just a little background on my project pan, why I'm doing this. I have so much stuff in my collection. For me, it's a little bit hard to just stick to a couple products and use them over and over again. But I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see if these particular products were ones that I could, in some cases, finish up. And in some cases, just get more use out of, because they've been sitting in my collection a little bit neglected, and that's why I chose them for this project. Now, this is the end of my 2nd month, and I will say, I struggled a little bit this month. I really did. And we can talk about numbers and stuff as we go through, because I have kept track of how many times I've used all the products, and I've compared that to the first month of how many uses each product got. So I like a good Excel spreadsheet. If my real life job, I work in accounting, we like our spreadsheets. So of course I have a spreadsheet comparing the overall usage of the products and if I'm doing better or worse this month. So let's kind of get into the products. I do have some update photos. One thing I realized though about me as a makeup user is that I really am gentle with my products. I don't dig into them. I have eyeshadow palettes that I love and I use frequently, and they look untouched because I go in with a light hand. I don't really dig unless the formula is something that I have to dig in, like ColourPop Super Shock. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of digging in those. So the pictures I feel like don't do my progress justice, but I'm still gonna put up the pictures that I took so you kind of can see where I started with and where I am at the end of this month. So let's just start going through all the products. I think for me, I will tell you if I'm just fed up with these products yet. I will continue to use these same products in month 3 of my project pan, and then I think at that point, if there's some that I'm just like, I can't deal with anymore, I think I'll do some switching out at that point. But for now, we're gonna keep everything as is for another month, just to really push myself. 3 months of a project pan with the same products while testing other products while working a full-time job is tough. It really is, but it's fun for me. So challenging, but fun. So let's get into this. I have a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna start, let's see, I'm gonna just go down my Excel spreadsheet and tell you about what I've been using. I'm just gonna go down my Excel spreadsheet and tell you what I've been using and how much I've used it in comparison to my first month. So let's start. We're gonna start with primers because why not? These are 2 primers that I have very mixed feelings on. The first one is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. The second one I'm working on is the Smashbox Primerizer Hydrating Primer. Definitely have different feelings about these products, but let's start with the Hourglass. So for the Hourglass, you can see that it's almost empty actually. The issue that I am having with this container is that the product itself is so thick that it doesn't settle on the bottom. So most primers are at least liquid enough so that if you would just have them sitting like this, they'll settle and you can use the pump like normal. I have the world's tiniest spatula, and I go in and I kind of like mush it all around, mush it off the sides, make sure I'm getting every single particle of this very expensive primer, and the pump is still not working. So it's just a little bit too thick. So I actually end up this is not hygienic, but I unscrew the pump and I take product off of the pump. And yeah, not hygienic, don't recommend doing that, but it's what I've been doing because even though I have the world's tiniest spatula and I could be using that, oh Lauren, sometimes I can't even. Well, either way, in the month of July, I ended up using this primer 6 times, which is not a lot. I thought I used it more. I did not. The month prior, I used it 9 times. So we're seeing a decrease of 3 times. So something I need to work harder on, obviously. The Smashbox Moisturizing Primerizer, I wanted to use this up because I have mixed feelings about the formula. It's very, very thin, and I've actually used it quite a bit this month, and I have my feelings for it have grown. My affection for it has grown. I actually adore the version they have that is the glowing primer, sparkly primer, glowing primer. What is that called? So, you know, the glowy one, right? I really, really love that one. I have a full size of it. I love it. This one I just didn't love as much. It's not bad. I think makeup sits really well on it, but it just wasn't my favorite. So I'm like, oh, look, a mini size. I can use this up quickly. Another thing to know about me when it comes to Project Pan, I'm not going to use something or use like a weird amount of things just to get through it. I'm going to use the normal amount I normally use. And I just don't use a lot. I put enough to cover my face, but I'm not putting globs of primer on, right? So this thing is still holding on. I used it 10 times in July, which was one more time than I used it in June. So we got an increase in this one. I actually brought it with me to Hawaii and it worked really, really good in that humidity. So it did give me a little bit of a newfound love for it, but it's still going. It's still going. So it's just gonna get buried with me, I guess, at this point, because it's endless, bottomless. It's a bottomless little guy. I mean, it's kind of amazing. If you only have one primer, then I can't recommend that one enough because it's gonna last you forever. Moving on to foundation, we have two different foundations. One is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. I have mine in the color 3 Neutral. The other one is the Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 in the color 15 Melrose. These are the two foundations that I really wanted to work on. I think you can see through this one now. I think it's finally showing up on camera. They're both nearly empty. Now, for the Beautiful Skin, I used this guy. I only used it 5 times. So the previous month I used it 9 times, so did not use this one as much. But for this one, I used it 11 times compared to the previous month where I only used it 3 times. And this was another product that I brought to Hawaii with me, and it worked so well in that weather that I just wore it every day. And you know, when I need to reapply makeup, I use this one. So they're both great products. I actually love them both quite a bit. The reason they're in my project pan is this one was almost empty, so I wanted to use it up. And I love when I'm able to use up foundation because it doesn't happen very often. This one's in my project pan because it officially expires in the month of August. It has SPF in it. It's technically a clean formula. By technically, I mean it is a clean formula. And I have to use it. I have to use it up. I worked really hard to get this, okay? The first time I ordered it after it had been sold out for months, my package never got delivered from Sephora. It got stolen or whatever. So when I reached out to customer service, they were like, oh, we could ship you a new one, except this one's out of stock. So I waited, finally came back in stock. And I love it. This is a fantastic formula. I really like the tint. I like that it's doing 2 things. It's got SPF in it and it's a tint, and it's a good tint. It's a really good tint. It's enough coverage where I feel like I look natural, but it looks really good, you know? So yeah, both good products, both on their way out, I hope. We'll see. We only have one concealer. This is the Dior Backstage Concealer in the color 1N. If you've been here before, you've heard me talk about this. It's a good formula. The packaging is garbage. It's just terrible because you can probably see how gross it is around the top here because it's gross. It's gross. What happens is that if I don't have it sitting straight up, if it's flat, if product is too close to the top, when I close the lid, it explodes. It just gushes over the side. It's real gross. So I have to keep it. I can't travel with it. I have to keep it just sitting up like this. You can see that I'm making progress. I only used it 6 times in July compared to 10 times the previous month. I wasn't really reaching for it. Making more of an effort this month. We also have 2 setting powders that also won't die, no matter how many times I use them. We have the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder, and we have the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. The travel size. Look, they're both almost done. I can see the amount of powder in here. It's low. It's really low. The Laura Mercier, I only used 5 times compared to 10 times the previous month. The Hourglass, I used 12 times compared to 9 times the previous month. So I use this one more. I brought this one traveling with me, which always helps. Both great powders. This one, my Hourglass is just a little bit old, so I wanted to use it. Same with the Laura Mercier. The travel size was just getting a little bit older, and I was like, oh, I can finish that up, no problem. Wow. It's not getting smaller enough, faster enough. Smaller, faster, better, stronger. I don't know, okay? I can finish it eventually, but again, powder's one of those things. I don't use a lot of it. I use it kind of in my T-zone area. I set my under eyes with powder, but I don't use it a lot. So it's just not going very fast. And another reason why I want to do this project pan, because it really has helped put a curb on my spending, because if it's taking me this long to use these products, the amount of products I have, it's just, I'll never finish them all. But I will put a dent in these at least. Bronzers. We have 3 bronzers. The first one is the Fenty Cheeks Out bronzer in Butter Biscuit. It's their cream bronzer and it looks like this. I used it 5 times compared to the last month, which I used it 6 times. This is another one where, like, I was looking at the pictures I took and I was like, you can barely tell that there is a difference in it. It's lasted a long time. The Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. This is their wand. It's in the color Fair Medium. This one I used 5 times compared to the previous month where I used it 4 times. So I used it once more. The contour wand, I just have so many mixed feelings about it, but I will say, I don't even want to take this off. It gets so dirty because you twist it open, you twist it closed, and somehow the product just gets all over the little twisty part. So I always have my fingers just covered in contour liquid. It's very gross, but it's getting smaller. Getting smaller. It's pretty flat. I think we're getting pretty close to the end. I'm a little scared to squeeze it too hard because that's when the product explodes. I did a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. I used one of her highlighting wands and that's what happened. Oh, you just never know. They're so delicate. The last product for bronzer. Okay, this is embarrassing. This is the Freck Face Hack in the color Fair Neutral. I didn't use it at all. I used it 4 times the previous month. I didn't use it at all in the month of July. I don't love this product. I wanted to see how long it would take me to finish a product of this size, but I don't really love the color. It says it's neutral, but I think it's warm leaning on me. I feel like it's warm leaning, but also it's very hard to see. So I have mixed feelings about it. I will bring it out more. Again, I'm keeping the same products for the next month, so I am gonna use it whether it wants me to or not. Blush is another area that was really hard for me. I feel like there's so many great blushes that came out over the last few months that I've been rotating through quite a lot, and I have completely neglected the blushes that I picked out for this project pan. And honestly, a lot of the times when I am in a rush, blush is something that I'll skip. I always do bronzer. I'll do the rest of my face. I'll do bronzer, but that's it. As long as I have my bronzer on, I feel pretty confident in going outside. Blush I don't necessarily need. So when I did reach for a blush, it was one of the new ones I have. So these guys got super neglected this time. We have the M Cosmetics blush in Faded Clementine. This is the Heaven's Glow blush. I used it 1 time. I used it 1 time the prior month. I have to use it at least 5 times this month. Okay, I have to. It's a good product. I like it. I really like M Cosmetics blush formula. It's very orangey and it's just not one that I reach for a lot. I don't think about it. You know, it's one of those ones that you just don't, it doesn't come to mind. I don't know how it's going to fare when I do my declutter at the end of the year, to be honest. We're still gonna try to use it. I really want to. We have the NARS Orgasm palette in Endless Orgasm. This guy's old, which is why he's in my project pan. I just wanted to get more use out of him. He's one of my first face palettes I ever got from NARS. He's beautiful. I do love this palette quite a bit. And I used it 3 times compared to the previous month where I used it 4 times. So 1 time less. And it's really good. I think having revisited it and used it, you know, quite a bit over the past couple months compared to how little I was using it previously has definitely made me, you know, reevaluate my love for NARS blush. But it also means that I have been pulling other NARS blush out and using that. So I guess thanks to this palette for inspiring to use more NARS. It's such a good palette. It's a cream palette. It's fantastic. It's not available anymore. It's old, but it's still in good shape. It smells good. Nothing funky is growing on it. So we're going to continue to use this guy. This one I'm just not using. This is the Chanel Le Beige Eau de Blush in soft pink, light pink. And I have this little piece of tape so you can kind of see the movement. And I only used it once compared to the previous month where I used it twice. Again, blush was not something I was reaching for in the month of July. It was hot. I was like not wearing as much makeup as I normally do in the first place. So yeah, blush is something that I will need to work on, and I think reevaluate at the end of my project pan, you know, my feelings about blush and what kind of blushes would I want to include in my next project pan if I decide to do it again. We have one highlighter, and that is the Rituel de Fille highlighter in Icebow. I have it on my face today. Did not use it at all. Used it 2 times the prior month. Yeah, kind of failed on this one. Again, I was reaching for contour bronzer when I was rushing out the door. Blush, highlighter, those 2 things got neglected. But also I was reaching for some more subtle highlighters, especially because I was going into work a lot. So I was reaching for the new one from Give Beauty. I actually like that one a lot. It's a lot more subtle. This one is it's just a scene stealer. It's beautiful. It's got such a pretty shift in it. I'm wearing it today, so at least we got one use for the month. I'm gonna use it more. I pulled this product into my project pan because I love Rituel de Fille, and I just wanted to appreciate what I had from them a little bit more. So I wanted to include a product, and this is such a pretty highlighter. So love it. I will use it more. Okay, I don't know why I decided to include a couple Super Shocks from ColourPop in here. We have Kush, which I used once, and I used it once the month before. It's so pretty. Singles were also neglected in the month of July. The month of July was weird. You know, I was playing with a lot of new makeup. I was playing with some old favorites, and then some stuff just did not get used. Like the Super Shock in Rosebud. This one did not get any use out of, didn't get any use out of the month before. So something to think about for me. I've talked about how hard it is for me to track how many times I'm using lip glosses. So we have the Buxom lip gloss, full on plumpy lip gloss in Dolly. It's a travel size. I know I used it a couple times, but I really don't keep track of these in particular. Just because I stick it in the purse, I pull it out when I have it, and I hit the road. So we're hoping to see a dent one day, but you know, it's probably a couple times. And then the Hourglass, what are you called? Phantom something, right? Phantom lip gloss. It doesn't actually have the name on this guy, but it's in the color Mist. It is a fantastic formula. I put mine in the project pan because it's a very unstable formula, I would say. It kind of reminds me of the new stuff from MAC. The one that I just did a short on it. I'll link it up here. It's very soft, very melty, and I've had mine melt in my purse before, so I don't like bringing it out with me, especially in the summer. Like, this is not a good time for me to be putting this in my purse because it will melt, and it's beautiful. I love it as a lip gloss, but I hate how delicate the formula is. I really do. I just wish it was a little more stable. It gives such a pretty glossy effect. I actually have it in another color. It's really pretty, but I hate that I just don't trust it out in the heat, and it is hot right now in California, so it stays home. I pull it out when I remember, which happens every now and again. Sometimes I remember. But yeah, it's not getting as much use as I would like to give it. So again, this is something I just need to focus on a little bit more, like pull it out, put it somewhere where it's visible. That's my thing. Makeup gets hidden from me, so I have to put it where I'll see it, and then I'll use it more. Last but not least, let's talk about the eyeshadow palettes that I have in my project pan. The first one is the ABH NORVINA Volume 4 palette. I love this palette. I put it in my project pan because I love it, and it was getting zero use before. So this is what it looks like. Now, last month I did work on this, okay? I used it 11 times. This month I only used it 2. So It did not get enough use at all. It's beautiful. I love it. The colors perform so, so well. It kind of fits Barbie summer really well, I have to say. All these bright pinks that I just don't reach for. I reach for the purples, of course. I love the purples. So this is something that I want to focus on quite a bit this month as well. There's so much eyeshadow that I want to use. I have so much, so much. The other eyeshadow palette that's in my project pan, I put in here because it's expensive as heck and I wasn't using it. And that's the Danessa Myricks Lightworks Volume 4 Transcendence palette. It's so pretty. It's full of multi-chromes. I still have not used the water activated liners, which are these two in the middle and the end. So that is what I need to do in the month of August. I need to use these, okay? They intimidate me. Water activated liners in general intimidate me, but I'm gonna work on it. I used it twice in July. I used it twice the month before. So not bad, it's pretty bad, it's pretty bad. All in all, I used all the items in my project pan 76 times compared to 101 times in the month of June. So we're looking at a 25% decrease in the times that I decided to reach for an item in my project pan and use it. Not great, not great. So I want to see a significant increase in the month of August. I want to use these more, especially since we're moving into fall. And I think some of these items are gonna get switched out for a little more fall-y themed stuff. Again, we'll see. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll keep it as is. We'll see, we'll see. But project panning is really, really hard, especially when you have an extensive collection and especially when this is not your full-time job. If I was switching out my looks a couple times a day, I think it'd be a lot easier. But I don't do that. You know, I normally put something on in the morning and that's what I stick with. And if I have a video in mind, then I'll kind of tinker my look to that video. But sometimes it's just, it is what it is. Whatever's closest to me is what gets on my face. Even though this stuff is pretty close to me. Not close enough, apparently. So August, I'm gonna push to be using these products even more. This has been a really good challenge for me. Again, it's really helped me kind of slow down on spending and appreciate the makeup I have more and appreciate this makeup in particular because so much of it is really great stuff. Like I picked good stuff, you know, I didn't pick anything that I hated. The Freck bronzer is kind of up in the air right now. I don't hate it. I need to work with it more. But the Freck bronzer is the only one that I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. Everything else though is great. And I'm really, really hoping that I can actually finish some of these products by the end of August. We'll see. I think there's a few that we can, but am I going to be able to just stick to those products enough to finish them? I don't know. I don't know. Again, there's a couple things I'm testing out right now and I like variety in my life. So this has been a little bit harder for me than I thought it would be in some areas at least. Some areas it's super easy to use the products over and over. So like primers, I can use those over and over pretty much all day. Like that doesn't bother me at all. And those are both great primers. They work with so many great products. But other things like foundation, I have so many great foundations that I want to pull out. Bronzers, highlighters, I have a lot. So we're gonna see how I do in the month of August. Are you doing a project pan? How are you doing? Are you hanging in? Are you doing better every month? Are you doing like me and hitting a little bit of a speed bump? But we are doing this together. We're panning things together. We can get through this. I would love to hear from you guys down below. Please leave a comment. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.